Woo! The new SM9 wedges in 3 different finishes. What do you say we go upstairs? Let's open them up.
All right, we got them.
There they are. And we got 3 different finishes, which I'm so excited for.
Super excited. There's actually, we'll talk about it in a second, but there's actually 4 finishes.
That's right.
One is, I don't know if you want to call it a finish, it's raw.
Okay,
So
we don't see too much raw.
Raw is an option, you know.
Tour players use raw.
Tour players use it a lot because they have to do some additional custom grinding, but regardless, when we eventually get fit, I'm sure we're gonna pick one of these, which is why I'm happy to take a look at them today. And speaking of which, if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so because we are going to, in a series here, we're gonna be getting fit for the SM9s. And as part of that, we're gonna announce a major giveaway.
Ooh.
Back when we did the SM8s, we gave away a full set of SM8s.
That's right, full custom set.
That's right, to 1 subscriber. We're gonna do the same with the SM9, so if you're not already subscribed, now's your reminder to do so you don't miss that video. And then of course, we'll get those out on the course. So this is just a first look.
Okay.
Want to take a look at what we got here? Let's break this box open.
It's time.
And let's start talking about the specs here.
Here we go. All right, let's take these boys out. Oh,
Look good. I wouldn't expect anything less, that's for sure.
let's get rid of that
This
box.
box out of the way. All right, Mike, so what finishes do we have?
All right, we have the Tour Chrome, which is the classic look. It's the look that
Also
we're
the
familiar
one
with.
we've been playing.
Yep, so that's the one we're most familiar with. Here's a little something different. This is the brushed steel. That's a pretty cool look.
It is. It's almost got like a nickel type of look to it. No matter which finish you end up with, one thing that I like is the design they kept super clean. So you'll notice on the back, you've got this big spot for that custom stamping.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then how about this jet black?
Yeah.
Can you mess around with jet black? Are you there yet?
You know what? Last time I was right on the fence of getting the jet black. I like it. There's one thing that you do know is that it is going to wear. That finish is going to wear a little bit, but some of that is intentional. Some people like the wear that you get out of it. I think one of the, not only just that sleek look, but one reason that a lot of people do like the jet black is, especially on a really sunny day, sometimes looking down at it, you get a little bit less of that glare reflection than you would get from something that's like the Tour Chrome, which is a little bit brighter. But again, it really comes down to having a lot of different options for customization. And two, depending on what you want to do with your stamping, sometimes some of those different colors, like I like a nice, you know, painted white stamping on a black, looks really good.
That is pretty cool.
It looks really good. But the most important thing, and we recently had the team from Vokey on the podcast, and one thing that they really wanted to make sure we drive home is that it is 100% a rumor that a finish is going to change the spin. Okay, so there's no performance changes whatsoever. I know some people have gone with like the raw because they feel like any finish is going to change the spin. Trust me, from what they told us, they put a lot of making sure into that design process that no matter what you choose, it is not going to affect the performance of the club. This comes down to strict aesthetics.
I love it. And you know, speaking of aesthetics, probably the most beautiful wedges that I've seen. I mean, the craftsmanship on this, I mean, look at that.
Yeah, they kept, like I said, they kept the design super clean, which is something you would 100%.
Those lines that are faint down there in the background that you could barely see, just the consistency of it.
Yeah, so let's get right into talking about the grooves, because there's a couple things that they've done here that I find really interesting. The first one is that they've got the micro grooves, which you have to look very closely to see. But again, everything, don't forget, all the grooves, their whole function is to clear any type of grass, water, debris away from the face so that you can get that ball on face contact.
Right, and stay tuned because we are going to hit these in the Mevo Plus in a second because I'm curious to see that contact and spin.
Yes, we'll get all our spin numbers. We're going to hit them in the sim like Mike said. But keep in mind, under your perfect dry conditions, obviously it's not going to have as much of an effect, but anytime, I mean, we're out on the golf course, you're out in nature, you're going to have an introduction of something. It could be dew, it could be whatever. Those grooves help to move that away. What they've done is in between the grooves, they've put what they call micro grooves, which is helping give that additional grip, especially on those half swing shots. So one thing that I love about wedges, they're kind of like the Swiss Army knife. So you think about it, let's say you take like your 7-iron, right? So that's a club that for the most part, other than maybe if you chip with it here and there, it's a full swing club, you're putting the same type of swing on it. Wedges have to be designed slightly different because that 100 yards and in, you could be doing half swings, 3/4 swings, you could be opening up the face, that's where these grinds come in. So there's a lot of different factors that come in. So they definitely thought about that with these micro grooves, because what it does is it helps give a little bit of added grip when you've got less club head speed coming through the ball. So those are kind of like half swing shots.
Right.
So that's why those are there. The other thing that they did, which I find really interesting, is they actually change the way the grooves are cut into the clubs depending on the lofts.
I'm gonna take this off. Okay.
So speaking of that, these are spin mill grooves, as Vokey's been doing, for the last couple of years, obviously. But what they're doing here is, like I said, they're varying up the way they're cutting these grooves, because you're gonna need different things based on different lofts. So for your low lofts, they've got these narrower, deeper grooves, and then your higher loft clubs have these wider, shallower grooves. So you think about your higher loft, like your 60, it's gonna be designed slightly different. This is not something you're gonna necessarily pick up with the naked eye, but again, that thought goes in that it's not just one groove pattern that's cut in throughout the entire line.
Gotcha.
All right.
Interesting.
The other thing too is, and we again talking on the podcast with the Vokey team about this, Bob, who is a terrific guy. We had a chance to get him on the podcast a couple of years ago. Just an absolute wealth of knowledge and experience. Obviously, he's been doing these wedges for a long time. And for this particular lineup, he called it the ultimate in optionality. So you've got more options with these SM9s. Yeah, so there's 23 different grind and bounce combinations.
Yep.
Plus, again, if you want to go even further, you've got your different finish combinations. You can take that even further out with the different shaft combinations, which is why we say all the time, it's so important to go get fit.
Absolutely.
And which is why this is a first look, but these clubs are not fit to us. We are going to go out and get these fit, so stay tuned for that.
All right, we're going to hit these any second, but before we do that, I'm sure you guys want to know, what was the huge difference that went into the SM9s from the SM8s?
So one big thing we talked with the Vokey team about was the progressive center of gravity. So in the previous versions, SM8s, they moved that center of gravity forward, helped with the, squaring up the face, and we got a little bit more forgiveness. Well, here they went even further. A lot of this comes from the feedback that they get from the tour players, the things that they want to do, and some of your better players who really want to work the ball in different ways. And here they introduced this progressive center of gravity. So basically what they do here is they're optimizing that ball flight. One thing that they really want to do, and the best players really want to get that lower flight with that more spin. So in order to do that, you kind of have to make some subtle changes to center of gravity based on, remember we said before, it's like the Swiss Army knife, you're doing all types of swings, as you get into different types of lofts. So in the higher lofts, they raise that center of gravity up more, which promotes that little bit more of that lower controlled flight, even in, let's say, a 60 degree. Right. So in a 60 degree, you got a little bit of a higher center of gravity, and then they work that down as you get towards the lower lofts. I'm thinking like my 48 degree, which is something that, A, it's less lofted to start with, and B, I'm usually using that as more of a full swing club. It's a little bit easier to keep it low, and they're able to get that center of gravity forward. But there is a difference there. And the other big difference you'll spot is in the hosel length.
Okay.
So there is a varying hosel length as you go through the different lofts. Again, each one of these really being keyed in on optimizing the individual wedge for that different loft. Instead of just applying one basic science for the hosel and for the center of gravity and for the spin milled grooves, instead of trying to take one thing and applying it through the line, they really treated each loft as kind of its own animal as they work their way through it. So it's something that, again, it's a lot under the hood that your everyday golfer may not want to necessarily even worry about. The good news is Bob's handling that. Bob's worrying about that. But the good news is where it's going to translate is that you're going to have a little bit more options around the green. That's where the optionality again comes into. You want to be able to take 3 clubs in your bag and turn them into 20 different shots that you can play.
Wouldn't that be nice?
That is nice. So again, it really comes down to taking advantage of this technology by making sure that you get that right bounce, grind, loft combination. Loft really comes down to gapping. That's another big part of your fittings, which we will dive into in our fitting.
Sure.
But right now we're just itching to hit them.
I'm itching. Can we hit these?
Let's go. Let's go get the launch monitor set up. We've got, what do we got here? They sent us a 52, we've got a 56 and a 60.
Perfect.
So we can try a couple of different things. They're so pretty, I almost don't even want to hit a ball with them yet, but nothing, kind of no finish is going to last forever.
That's true.
Yeah. So let's go hit some golf balls. We'll see how they perform. Uh-oh, the peel. The peel.
He is getting it all done in one strip.
Oh, he was so close.
I was almost there.
He was so close.
Let's get it off. Come on, I'm dying to hit these. All right, so we're gonna give you guys some launch data, some spin data, and I'm gonna start with the 60 and work our way down to the 52. I think that's a nice way to do it. So I'm currently gaming the SM8s. The 60 is the club that I use, 30 yards and in, around the greens, in greenside bunkers, you name it. I pretty much sleep with my 60-degree wedge. So Frank, let me do some half shots and then we'll do some full shots. That's good. All right. So good little 50-yard shot, half chip, spin, 6,000. It feels good. It feels just like, you know.
Let's see that face with one shot. Did it make any?
There's where I hit. So it was a miss hit.
Yeah, out on the toe. But does that come off? Let's see. Yeah, so that's just some ball residue. It's not messing up the club. All right, I'm dying to take a swing with this thing. So let me hit the 60. This is a L grind. That's new for me.
K, right?
Yeah, I usually play with the K grind on my 60. Yeah, don't judge me because it's a little bit dirty. I just played around and get to clean it. But this is my SM8 60. I do a 14 on the bounce, and it's a K grind. So this is a little different. This is a 4 and an L grind. But let's give it a whirl here.
Smooth, huh?
Yeah, and that right there, that's a full swing 60 for me. I usually use it out to about 75 yards max. Liking the spin on a full swing shot, 8,400, felt good. See if we can hit one a little lower and spinnier.
There we go.
Yeah, so almost 9,000 there.
Yeah.
Yeah, feels good. Let's hit some of these other clubs.
Okay.
Oh, that felt good, man.
Yeah, man, look at that.
That felt good. 86 yards, 9,000 spin. I mean, it's just tons of spin.
Wow.
Tons of spin. You can feel it. It's just, especially again, keeping it low, working on keeping it low. You can hit like that low kind of flighted wedge, which I'll be honest with you, I do not hit every time. I struggle with it. I'm a 12 handicap. That's the reality. So it's nice to still have that forgiveness that they built in a lot with the SM8s, but now with the SM9s, again, it's a little bit more tailored to each of the different lofts. At least as we're finding, we will find out a lot more when we get fit. Mike, go ahead and hit this thing.
Let's try this. Oh, yeah.
There you go, 93 carry.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, kind of like exactly what you were saying there.
77 there. So I kept that really low.
Yep.
I'd like to just try one more to see if I can get the spin up a little bit.
Okay. There you go. There's your 100 number, 102.9 carry.
So there's the number. There was a good clean shot. Nice little draw there.
Sure. And one thing too is, like, I'm going to keep saying this. These are just some stock clubs that they sent us to give a first try with. These are not dialed in yet. I can't undersell the importance of a fitting. So once we get fit, we will most likely be in some grinds, some bounces, and even some possible shaft changes that fit our game a little bit more. We're just kind of looking at a first look out of the box here. So we got one more club. So we got the 5208F, this F grind. I love this F grind. That's what I have in my 52. I love it for the full swing shots. It's just terrific for that for me. But I do like to chip with this club a lot. 52 is kind of like my chipping club. But usually this club will be used for me. This is my 100-yard club. You know, so I've got a 48 degree in my bag as well. If you guys didn't check them out, make sure you check out our full What's in the Bag videos, which we have on the channel. You can dive into that more. 48 is usually for my 115-yard shot, but a 100-yard shot, this is the one I like. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of digging that finish. I think
they're all cool. It's hard.
They are. I think it's going to come down to me either going the black or going with the Torque Chrome, but this one's sleek too. I just feel like it doesn't fit my bag as well as the others.
Is it a weird thing to do all three?
You could. Actually, it's funny. I've actually heard of some people doing all three. It's just making visually that much easier for making sure they grab the right club.
There you go.
You know each club in different finish and you grab it.
Right.
You know? So all right, so let's hit this 52. I'd be looking for me, it's a 100-yard shot. Let's see how it goes.
Nice strike there. Look at that.
There you go, 102 carry,
Yep.
8,400 on the
Look
spin.
At that spin.
I'm digging them. Like I said, they're not fit yet, but
He's
I'm
feeling
digging
good,
them. Now I just can't wait to go get fit.
Right.
You want to hit it?
I do.
Hit it.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, of course he does. Silly question, right?
There we go.
That was a good strike right
So
there.
there was your typical 50.
And there you got 92 on the height.
Yep.
It was a clean strike, but look at the carry on that thing.
Yeah.
120.
I love it.
All right, so that's just a quick first look at the new Vokey SM9s. Let us know, what finish do you like from a first look here? Drop them in the comments below. And like I said before, make sure you subscribe because we're gonna do a whole series of the SM9s. We're gonna be getting fit for them. And as part of that, we're gonna announce a big giveaway. Someone is gonna win an entire custom set of Vokey SM9. So subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss it. We'll see you in the next video.